All right, welcome to the Sports Guys. Another weekend recap. What an incredible weekend of sports we had. NFL all over the place. Some of the games were just unbelievable. We'll get into those tonight. Some of the college games were crazy. Some of the upsets, both college and NFL. We had baseball playoffs all over the place. We have MLS that's coming to a wrap, and the MLS playoffs are about to start. We got hockey starting this week. So, Robbie, what do you think of all
Yeah.
the sports?
All right. So before we get started, I think we could easily talk for 4 hours if we didn't have some boundaries on this one. So it is so exciting. There's so much that happened this weekend, Virginia, and there are so many amazing. There were upsets all over the place. All the undefeated teams in the NFL went down. Just incredible excitement, a lot of second guessing of things we thought that were narratives. And I think college is wild because there were some crazy games, some really nutty upsets. Not very many, but the ones that happened were crazy. So just in general, a lot of fun stuff. I like this year there haven't been too many horrendous injuries. There have been a couple, but so far it's been the injuries are mounting on some of these teams. Watching the Ravens be a shell themselves tough, but
It's so sad. So
it's
sad to
sad
see
to
that.
watch. But generally speaking, NFL lots and lots of upsets, and college a couple of weird upsets, but for the most part, a lot more blowouts
I
again.
had
So
I
kind of
had a really interesting thought though, because you look at the two mash units that are the 49ers and the Ravens, and you have
Mhm.
one team that's 4-1 and leading their division. You have the other team that's 1-4 and looking like they're fading out of the playoffs very quickly. I have to wonder, is it coaching? Because I mean, the 49ers have backups at every position too. They got backup quarterbacks and backup wide receivers and backup linemen, and they've lost Nick Bosa and they've lost all kinds of stuff. They haven't had Kittle in 3 weeks, and yet they just keep winning. So I don't know. I really feel like the coaching in the NFL is even more important than I thought it was. I really believe that, because I think Harbaugh has lost it.
John Harbaugh. I I think that the example you give of Niners versus Ravens is not perfect because what I would say is I think we underestimated the Ravens defense, overestimated the Ravens defense.
They
It's
may give
terrible.
up the most points in history.
It's
They're on
terrible. And
track right now to give them.
so when you have your quarterback go down, who's your offensive star, you're one of your two or three best players on offense, and your defense is pitiful, you can't lose your quarterback and have a bad defense.
Mhm. That's right.
In this league, you have to have a good quarterback. You probably should have a good running game and offensive line, and you have to have a good defense if you're going to be really competitive. And the Ravens don't have that right now.
Well, and they still have Christian McCaffrey, which is huge. When he's
Yep.
healthy, they're just a different team.
Yeah.
And they have some young receivers who have stepped up. There's no doubt about it. And,
Yeah.
they're finding ways to win. I respect Shanahan a lot. I really do. I think he's a good coach. Um,
Well, I think John Harbaugh is a good coach. I just think that the roster is finally depleted enough. They paid Lamar what 2 years ago,
mhm.
and it's finally starting to hurt their
Then they paid Henry.
it's
Yeah.
starting to hurt their roster. I mean, they're starting to have to let guys go and move people, move
This isn't
past
just
people.
defense. Their offensive line can't block anybody
It's
either.
mostly defense, but they do
Yeah.
have other problems. They have other
Mhm.
needs. They've got plenty of skill position players, but nobody to get them the ball.
Mhm.
They're just like Cincinnati. They remind me they're starting to become the Bengals.
So the other big trend I saw, you tell me if I'm right, the preseason polls in both college and pros mean absolutely nothing.
True.
You're seeing 3 out of the top 4 preseason 1, 2, and 4 that are no longer in the top 10, and in the
Yeah.
case of 2 of them are not ranked at all. They're completely unranked. So
Yeah.
it's just an absolute joke to even think about preseason polls as anything until you get about, like you said, about 4 games in. That's what
It
you said a
my
couple weeks
my
ago.
analogy is holding that 4 games in, you started to see the pretenders and the real ones. There's gonna be more changes still, but I do think that the preseason polls are important because they draw attention to the landscape to zoom in on certain players. But some of them are a joke. I mean, to zoom in on Arch Manning this year, you're wasting a
Now,
lot of energy on somebody who's not ready for prime time,
he's not
but
ready.
probably will be by next year, in my opinion. I think as bad as he is this year, he's going to improve a lot and get humbled and get in that weight room and really work hard. And I think he'll be better next year. So
Now I think that's true in college. Now in pros, you're seeing at least half the teams they're projecting to be top 10 teams are not. My question to you is it mainly because of injuries, or is it because, again, you have half of the teams fall out of the playoffs and half new ones get in the playoffs every year? It's just a general trend that happens. Is it mainly injuries?
normally you have a lot of teams fall out. Last year we didn't. 2 years ago we didn't. Last year was decent. But I think it's roster management. That's what the whole thing comes down to. Do you have a quarterback who's under the rookie contract? And if you don't, you have to have other players willing to take pay cuts. And if
And
you
how
don't
do
have
you
that, you're gonna lose depth. And as you start to have injuries, you're gonna start losing. And everyone's like, "What's wrong with the Ravens? What's wrong with the?"
and how do you have all these reclamation projects that are so good this year? You have Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold both were on the Panthers at the same time. And now both of them are playing Pro Bowl level to the point where they're saying Baker may be the MVP this
I don't
year.
know.
And then you have Daniel Jones, who the Giants had completely given up on after giving him a huge contract, goes to maybe a top 5 roster, it looks like. I mean, the Colts are really good.
Yeah, they are good.
And he goes and plugs into that, and he's got a really good offensive coach in Shane Steichen, and all of a sudden Daniel Jones looks good.
I mean, yeah, that's how it works. It's fast in this league because there's a lot of roster building that's going on, and all you do is add a couple players into the nice roster, and teams go from, bottom of their division to contending for playoffs really quickly.
So do you think teams
And
give
vice
up?
versa. They
Do you think
collapse really quickly too.
do you think teams give up on their quarterbacks too fast? But
Way
at the
too
same
fast.
but at the same time, do you really think Sam Darnold would look like he does this year if he was on the Jets? I don't think so,
No,
because they're terrible.
they're
So
terrible.
if Baker was on the Raiders, you think he'd be 4-1? I don't.
No.
So it's a lot about situation in the NFL.
Yeah.
It really is.
But there's not that many bad situations. There's a handful. But like the Cardinals are definitely a bad situation. Look what happened yesterday. They lost because of
It,
poorly coached players that don't situationally understand what's going
so
on.
dumb. It was so dumb. He's trying to
You know,
cross the goal line. He drops it. It just
it's unreal.
that was one of the most outrageous ways to lose a game I could ever imagine.
I know.
I don't know how.
And then
That's just bad teams.
when they intercept the ball and then fumble it backwards into their own end zone and then the
They
Titans
score.
fall on it.
I know.
I mean, that only
With
bad team can do
with
something that bad.
with the drop ball at the goal line, which ended up being a 14-point swing, and with that, which ended up being a 14-point swing, it should have been a blowout for the Cardinals.
It should have
It's
been a blowout.
unbelievable the Titans won.
Yeah. Roll it, Tommy. Roll it.
Let's dive in. Let's take a moment to call out our wonderful sponsor for tonight. That's Jersey Mike's. They've been a longtime sponsor of ours, and they just have the most incredibly fresh sandwiches. I know, Rob, every time we're together, we go to a Jersey Mike's and get either the number 13 or the number 17. But tell us a little bit about what you think of Jersey Mike's and how much your family loves it.
We love it. It's part of our Saturday ritual to go after baseball. Usually we have an 11 o'clock baseball game. We go straight to Jersey Mike's as a group, quite a few of the players and their parents and everything. And then we usually go at least one other night because the rest of my family loves the buffalo wrap and everything. So, and it's not hard to convince the rest of us to do it again. So we usually go 2 to 3 times a week now, honestly. And
Yeah, because a
it's
lot of times you go there before the podcast too. So you
yeah, I
usually
mean, usually I'll try and go every time before the podcast. We go pretty much every Saturday, and then sometimes there's another time in there when we go. So love it. It's great. I mean, I can't even say enough good things because it's pretty much everything you're looking for. It's the fresh ingredients. great sandwich ideas across their whole menu. I've been in restaurants 31 years, and everything I've seen with the way they do everything is just top notch. It's great quality. It's good affordability, friendly service. It's everything you want in hospitality, and fantastic delivery of product.
So fresh. And one of the things I love to do is I like to get the giant version of it, either the 13 or the 17,
Yeah.
take it home. I eat half of it and I put half in the fridge. And I swear it's actually the second half is better than the first half the next day when I warm it up.
Yeah. Or you and I share one half each. So I
Right.
mean,
Right.
such a
So, guys,
good place.
go check out jerseymikes.com or check out the Jersey Mike's app, or you can get it delivered to you by Uber Eats or DoorDash, or just go into one of your local stores and greet the really friendly people there and get yourself a sub tonight. It's a sub
It's a sub
above.
above.
See you next time.
Bye.
So this week we're calling it playoff separation. And the reason we're calling it that is because there's a lot of teams that are headed down and there's a lot of teams that are headed up. And it's really amazing. As Rob said, you get 4, 5, 6 weeks into the season, you really can see the separation. You can see the teams that are going to make a run, and you can see the teams that are virtually out of it now. Starting with Arch Manning, as we talked about, they were highly touted. They were the preseason number one. There were people that were already scratching them into the college football playoff final game before they even
I
played a
thought they were going
snap.
to be there. I did.
I really felt good about them, and I felt good about Penn State. What is your take on Texas versus Penn State? These two teams that were 1-2 in the preseason polls that have both fallen out of the top 25 and look like they're having abysmal seasons. But what is your take on these two?
I thought Penn State was wildly overrated. So I'm going to put them in a separate category because to me, this isn't that big of a surprise. Losing to UCLA is a huge surprise, but having them disappoint, I don't see how people could think they were going to be national contenders, national title contenders, and then think they're not going to fall short of that. They're going to actually win the national title. Like, I mean,
Well,
at no point did I think that was even remotely
well,
possible.
well, with two losses now, Penn State has to not only run the table, they have to beat Ohio State, but they have to also win the Big Ten championship game. So their road to the playoffs is incredibly difficult. They also, by the way, have to play Indiana along the way. They have to play Illinois along the way. So
I
it's
think they're
not
a very
easy.
good team, but the expectation for them was unfair. So sometimes you got to look at what are we actually expecting versus reality. Like the Jets, it seems like Jet fans do this every year. They think we're going to be great, and they haven't added much, so that
Yeah,
there's
that's
just
right.
no reason for the optimism. So it's the same with Penn State. I don't understand this.
No, it's interesting because they have essentially the same offensive line as last year, and they can't run the ball as well as last year. And they have two guys who are going to both be drafted in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft. So
Their
there's a
running
problem,
backs are amazing,
and yet they're not running the ball well. So
but they're
so
not running the
then you
ball.
look at Drew Aller, who's supposed to be one of the top 3 picks in the NFL draft, and he just looks uninspired. He looks slow. He
Well, they
takes
look
way
confused.
he takes way too many sacks. He overthrows or underthrows people. He just doesn't look like
They
a
look
senior should
confused on
look.
offense.
Yeah, and it's very confusing. Arch Manning in his third year, you thought would be much better than this. I mean, he comes from the lineage that he does. He's been studying football his whole entire life. He was the player of the year in his state as a high school senior. Was one of the top recruits maybe since Andrew Luck, and he just looks deer in the headlights. He almost looked worse this weekend than he did in week one against Ohio State. He just
I think
he looked terrible.
expectations on Arch have been unrealistic. However, I thought Texas was going to be pretty good. If you look at their returning players, they had a lot
Yeah.
of good players coming
And their
back.
defense isn't very good this year. It's pretty
They're
soft.
supposed to be the number one defense in the country. I don't
Yeah,
know what happened. It's all
yeah,
just not working.
right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where you go from here with Arch. He's got a lot of tough games coming up in the
It's gonna be
SEC.
a tough season. It just
This was
is.
his first SEC road game, and he lost it. And it's just going to get harder from here. So I'm not sure what to say about those two teams. Another team to talk about is Florida State. Much better than last year. Castellanos has brought a real life to
Oh
that
yeah.
team. But with 2 straight losses, the reality is their chance of making the playoff has gone from 80% to 5%. And the
Hmm.
reason it's 5% is because they've got some really tough games in their schedule. And, including Florida and a couple of others. They have to not only run the table and win the ACC championship game, but they have to get some luck because, as you know, the ACC usually gets one, maybe two teams in. And it's looking like Miami's definitely getting in. So Florida
Yeah.
State has put themselves into a really bad position with the Viginia loss and the Miami loss.
I wouldn't say definitely anything right now, but I would say most likely Miami goes in, and
I will
then
say Florida
the
State
best
has a
remaining ACC team, and possibly a third.
I will
But
say Florida State has a better chance than Texas and Penn State to get the playoff. I will say that.
yeah,
But
because Texas and Penn State play harder teams.
right. But Florida State has to win out and win the ACC championship game. That's a tall order. They essentially have
Yeah.
to win 8 games in a row. So we'll see if they can do it.
I will say
Yeah,
Castellanos could do it.
he could.
He's
It's
pretty
possible.
good.
Possible. Another team that is just in the doldrums is Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. They were chosen as the top roster heading into this year. They have a defense that is so atrocious that they're now on track to give up the most points in NFL history. They're on track to give up 625 points. And they're 32nd in almost every defensive category.
Yeah.
um, did you see this coming? I mean, even if they had Lamar fully healthy, their defense is so atrocious that
No, I
they
thought
look
they were
like
going to be
top
pretty good
500.
this year. I thought their defense was going to be competitive. Did not
Yeah,
see this coming.
yeah.
You know why I didn't see this coming? Because most of their defensive players are the same as last year. A lot of them got contracts and they're terrible this year. It's the same players. It's
Hmm.
really weird.
And Derrick Henry can't run the ball, and their offensive line can't block. When I was watching
Derrick
him
Henry
try to
can run
run
the
the ball
ball,
the
but he's
other,
fumbling, which is weird.
yeah,
He's fumbling the ball.
I don't know what to make of the Ravens. They're sitting at 1-4. They're not getting him back another week or two, so they're probably going to be 1-5, 1-6, and then they're going to try to make a run. And I mean, in the NFL, you don't rip off 10 in a row very often. It's just not going to
No,
happen.
no.
So, that's why I'm calling it playoff separation. I think they're going to be out. So another team that's looking really sad right now,
I
the
would say,
Yankees,
hold on. I would say the Ravens can catch fire if he comes back and they ignite. But if that doesn't
possibly.
happen, there's no chance.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I would say if Derrick Henry was having a record year like he did last year, then maybe. But he's not playing well. None of the receivers are playing very well. Lamar wasn't having his best season, and the rest of the team is just not very good. So we'll see. See if
We'll
they can
see.
come back. Yankees are sitting in an 0-2 hole, playing a really good Blue Jays team who won the NL East. And I don't know, can they rip off 3 in a row? Possibly. They certainly have the players to do it, but
Yeah, baseball's weird.
haven't looked like a team that can do it right now. So we'll have to see if they can dig themselves out. They actually play tomorrow night in Game 3. One team that's smiling, though, are the LA Dodgers with Otani. They won their Game 1 in this series and look like they're doing pretty comfortably
They're
well.
reloaded.
They're actually leading again tonight in Game
Yeah,
2. So
nice.
another team that's cruising. The only team out of the top 5 that's still there is Ohio State and Jeremiah Smith, clearly the best receiver in football, and they're just absolutely rolling. Saints getting better every week. Their defense is really, really stout. They can run the ball. What are your thoughts about Ohio State?
Um, I think they're a very good team. I think they're beatable because they have a freshman quarterback, but he sure looks good. He's going to be great in the future, and he's very good now. But if you throw a superior defense at him, that he might get a little flustered. It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
But most likely they're pretty lined up nicely for the big run against Oregon, probably.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No, I think they're going to be there. They're going to make the playoff. They're going to be in the Big Ten title game, whether they win it or not. I think they'll also beat Penn State. I don't think Penn State can hang with them.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree. I've never thought so.
Yeah.
All the hype was going. I was like, what's all this hype about?
And that'll put the nail in the coffin when they do that. Although Penn State plays Indiana before they play Ohio State. They may lose to Indiana because Indiana's
Yeah,
very
they
good.
very well could lose to Indiana.
Yeah. So another team that's riding high is our team, the Virginia Cavaliers, Chandler Morris, and the boys.
Talk slowly, Tommy. Talk
What an
slowly.
incredible inspired win they had this weekend at
We love
Louisville.
it.
And they played the team that is the hardest team on their schedule after Florida State and found a way to get it done in overtime. And, this team just feels like a very special team, kind of like our 2019 team. And
It's weird. We've had other good teams like this, but this one feels like everything's falling in place instead of falling apart.
It does.
We're not having the injuries that take out all of our hope at the wrong moment and stuff.
Rob, this offense is number 3 in FBS.
We're running the ball. We're pounding the ball with big offensive linemen. These are our backup linemen.
I know. We had 3 missing against Louisville.
Injuries on the offensive line, and these are our backups.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really remarkable to see what this Virginia team has done. They're sitting at 5-1. They're 3-0 in the ACC. Their percentage has gone the opposite from Florida State in terms of making the playoff. They were sitting at 1% before the Florida State game, 1%. And now they're up to 32% chance to make the playoff.
I refuse to get my hopes up for that.
I do too, but I'm just stating the fact,
But I'm very hopeful that we could do a nice bowl, and that would make me so happy.
Yeah.
I would love the playoff, but I just don't think we go from one of the worst teams in the ACC to the playoff in one season.
We still have to beat a lot of good teams to get to the playoff. You got to beat North Carolina,
Duke,
North Carolina. You got to beat Virginia Tech. There's a lot of good teams, but if you somehow string together like the best season in 30 years, you could do it. I mean, it's possible.
Of course. If we thread a needle, then we could sew. But
right, are we going to have a stinker game? Likely, and that's just something to live with. But look at the scoreboard. You had BYU take out West Virginia, 38-24.
BYU is good.
They're very good, and they keep rolling, and nobody really talks about them. They're kind of under the radar. So, what are your thoughts about BYU this year?
Let's see. They're doing it with offense. Their defense is okay. They had two picks against West Virginia, which is very good. But their offense, just is steady, and they just hammer you both in the air and running. Total yardage, 291 for West Virginia, 518 for BYU. They're just pounding you.
518, I know. And you know what's interesting? If you look at every one of their games this year, they always score between 25 and 28 points in the first half every week. So BYU is really good at getting early leads, and then they hold on to them. They're really good at that. They just kind of put you away.
And Barry Bachmeier, he had a really good numbers, 18 of 25, 351 yards throwing with a touchdown. And he had a pick, QBR of 88.2. And he also had 12 rushes for 43 yards and a rushing touchdown. So that's just a whole lot of production out of your quarterback position. And then you add in a 90-yard running back with a touchdown. And they had a wide receiver who got 161 yards receiving, Chase Roberts. Yes. They just had a really awesome performance on offense, and they got those 2 picks that were very, very pivotal moments in the game. So, West Virginia came to play, but they just kind of ran into a buzzsaw. I think BYU is underrated.
I 100% agree. You're going to see them rising from 23.
They're 5-0.
I know. Next team was Ohio State. They were predicting in the pregame that Minnesota was going to give them a pretty good run. Minnesota has a solid defense, and they run the ball pretty well. And that didn't happen. 42-3. I mean, it was just an absolute blowout. You had Tate, and you had Jeremiah Smith, and you had running backs all over the place. And Sayan had his best day as a college player. And Ohio State, they seem to be getting better, which is kind of scary for the rest of the
Yeah,
teams.
they're kind of peaking going into the second half of the season. That's what you want to do.
Mhm.
I don't have a lot of notes on this one because they just pummeled them. Like that's what they're supposed to do
Mhm.
to good teams but not great teams. That's what Minnesota is. They're a good team
Well,
but not
the
great.
fact that all the pundits were saying this was going to be a close game, but that Ohio State was going to win by 10 points or something, and that they did this tells me that, they're starting to round into shape.
They're in a different class than
They
Minnesota.
dismantled Minnesota. Minnesota
Yeah.
was 3-1 coming into this, so
There's not much to say about that game, honestly.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
that's right. So this game was really fun to watch. I
oh
sat in my
yeah.
easy chair and watched this. I was
Oh yeah.
wondering how Florida State would respond coming out of the Virginia game, and they didn't respond very well. And they were sitting at, down 28-3 in the third quarter. Miami just absolutely dismantled them. They really put a lot of pressure on Castellanos. Miami has the best defensive line pressure man in the entire country in Bain.
Mhm.
Guy's just a man child out there.
Yeah, he is.
He was in the backfield every play. And
Yeah.
Castellanos really looked uncomfortable most of the day. They did put on a little bit of a comeback in the fourth quarter to make
Oh
it
yeah.
closer. But what did you think about this game? What did you think about Miami? I thought it was really impressive the way they beat Florida State in this game.
I think that there's a player for Miami who's getting some publicity for sure, but not enough. I think Malachi Tony is the best wide receiver in football.
You think he's better than Jeremiah Smith?
I think he's better than Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, he is really good.
But
He was
but
fun to
if
watch
he's
today.
not, he's right there with him, and he's a true freshman. In fact, he was supposed to be a senior this year in high school.
Do you remember his
Just
dad, the
think
player
about that for a
manager?
second. He's supposed to be a senior in high school right now, and they graded him up and got him out into college. So can you imagine what Malachi Tony would be doing to high school DBs?
I know. It's
He's
true.
unstoppable at the college level against all Americans.
It's true.
So
No
this
doubt about
kid,
it.
it's just so much excitement coming his way. Like
Do you
I
remember
hope
his father was an
he stays
NFL
healthy.
player? Do you remember him? Kadarius Toney
Yeah, yeah.
played for the
Malachi Tony,
Eagles.
he's the
Yeah.
best wide receiver in football, and
I kind of look
that's
at
what
him like,
made
Marvin
made him.
Harrison Jr. last year was, because Marvin Harrison Jr., of course, is the son of an NFL receiver.
I know,
And
but Malachi Tony is more explosive.
he is. He is really fantastic. How many years do you think he'll stay in?
The minimum, like
Yeah, because the
you
pros are
know.
looking at him already.
I
Yeah,
mean,
he's fantastic. I think he, on the wide receiver side, he and probably Jeremiah Smith,
yep,
and then, but it's clearly Bain is the best defensive player in the country.
yep.
I think he and the Ohio State kid is the linebacker. Those two,
There's a lot of talent in the
they're
college
going to be
ranks.
like top 5 pick kind of area
The
for
next two
defense.
drafts are going to be really good, I think.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
So,
This
but
was
back
a
to the
classic.
Miami Florida State game. Beck had a really nice game, 4 touchdowns,
Yeah, I
20
know.
of 27, 241 yards,
He
QBR of
looked really good.
89.1. This is the guy that last year everyone's saying he's no good. He's a good player. Beck's a
Didn't you
good
think
player.
that? Didn't you think Florida State was going to respond a little better than this? They just looked very listless for most of the game.
Well, I think they couldn't run the ball. So Castellanos had to throw the ball 45 times. I never want my quarterback throwing more than 35 times ever
Yeah.
for any reason.
And do you think against these big lines like that he's a disadvantage because he was getting a lot of balls tipped? And
Yeah, I mean,
we talked
there's a
about
lot of
his.
things that can go wrong when you drop back to pass that many times.
He's
He was
5'10".
25 of 45. That's a terrible percentage.
Mm-hmm.
He was asked to do way too much, and he had 2 picks.
Right.
And, granted, he got rid of the ball decently. They only had 1 sack. Miami put pressure, and he got the ball out of there. But, man, that was a lot to ask of Castellanos. He's a good quarterback. I think he's excellent. And
I
I
got to
think if
tell
you
you,
ask him to do a reasonable amount of work, he's going to do really well at it. If you ask him a ridiculous amount of work, then almost
I
nobody
think
can do that.
Castellanos, I think, can beat most top 20 teams, but I think when you get up into the top 5 range, he can't compete at that level. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I've been very impressed with Carson Beck this year. I was incredibly critical of him last year. I thought he was really terrible last year and really held Georgia back. And I think this year he just looks like a different quarterback. Looks very comfortable. So
Yeah,
delivering the ball.
he looks comfortable, confident. He's not distracted by a girlfriend. It seemed like that played a role, and he was worrying about
Hmm.
what his Ferraris and all, like just. I think he's locked in. He's happy
Hmm.
at Miami. He's big man
Hmm.
on campus. He's on a great team with an amazing roster, lots of
Hmm.
support from all his skill position players. Malachi Tony. I mean, how can you not be excited? Like you're throwing to
Yeah,
Malachi Tony. Like,
he's throwing it to him quite a bit.
yeah, and he's got experience. Like he knows what to do in different situations. He's been around a long time, so he's doing great.
So this game, Oklahoma wins 44 to nothing over Kent State, which isn't much. But what was interesting is this is the first game they played this year without Mateer, and they were wondering how this kid Hawkins would be as the backup. And they also decided to run the ball a lot, and they ran
Yeah.
actually five different backs in this game.
I don't think
But
we learned very much from this game, to be honest, but
I think the only thing
okay.
you learned is that this kid Hawkins could be a viable situation if you needed to go to him.
You learn about the future
Uh,
there.
yeah.
You learn about
Mhm.
Oklahoma future of Oklahoma football.
And he can win you a game or two in a situation like this. So
Yeah.
I think that's what you learn.
That's about all you learn.
Yeah, pretty much. This game really surprised me. I thought this was going to be really close. Mississippi State
Yeah.
is very, very tough,
Yeah.
and Texas A&M just kind of took them apart. Their defense is so good. They win this one 31 to 9, kind of going away, and I
Yeah.
really think you're going to see Texas A&M up in the top 5 now, pretty
Yeah,
consistently.
Texas A&M is a very, very good team. They have an incredible roster that has been assembled with NIL money, and it's starting to pay off. The line was 16 and a half.
Hmm.
Um, you know, that's a significant point spread
Over a really good team.
over a good team. So
Yeah,
16 and a half over a good SEC team, uh, that's what happened. They blew them out. They
pretty
kind of beat
much.
on them a little bit.
They did. They did, and I was very impressed with actually both defenses were pretty good. Mississippi State kind of wore down in the fourth quarter, but I thought both defenses really felt like an SEC defense. It was very tough
Yeah,
going to get points,
yeah,
but A&M was just the better team
no
on that
doubt.
one. So this game, obviously the most surprising game of the entire weekend. You have a UCLA team coming in with Nico, who we had been kind of joking about that he had made a huge mistake leaving Tennessee to go to his hometown. He's from LA, and he goes and they start 0-4, and they lost to some really poor teams, including New Mexico the week before. They let New Mexico have 560 yards of offense, and this week it was like a new team. It was unbelievable to watch Nico just go
You
crazy.
know what I'm going to tell you? I wasn't really bad mouthing him too much because I think there's something to going home and being happy again. Like, I think the move made sense, not financial sense, but sense in every other way. Because if you get yourself happy, then the money will follow that. You don't follow the money, you know? I think
Yeah, but look at
you
look at these rushing numbers, Rob. I mean, 16 for 128 for 3 touchdowns for Nico
I know.
against a Big Ten defense. Like, what is going on?
No, but he had 17 for 24 throwing,
I know,
166 yards, and also 2 touchdowns. He accounted for 5 touchdowns.
I know.
To
So
me,
what is
that's somebody who things are clicking and he's happy.
and
That
Aller
that's
had a
what that
couple.
screams is that I'm comfortable and I'm happy and I trust my coaches and I love my teammates now and I've gotten to know them all and they know me and it just
Yeah,
feels like, yeah, they're probably not going to beat too many more good teams out there this year
you could
because they're a
feel this.
little depleted, but at least, you can come together when you need to.
You could feel this upset brewing when it got to 27 to 7.5, and then it got to 34 to 7 in the third quarter, and you're just like, is this really going to happen? This is crazy.
Do you know what
So
the
what?
spread was?
I don't.
Penn State 24 and a half.
Yeah, exactly. So what is your theory about this? How could Penn State possibly have gotten themselves into this situation? They're supposed to
Well, you
have
have
beaten
to
by
look at
three
some of the
touchdowns.
stats. I mean, time of possession, Penn State 20 minutes, UCLA 39, almost twice as much time of possession. UCLA had 446 yards and Penn State 357. So they got almost 100 more yards on the ground. I mean, in general, on offense. And rushing was significant, 157 for Penn State, 280 for UCLA. So they just
Mhm.
pounded the ball. There was a lot of running the ball is safer than throwing it. So when you're pounding the ball, it's a safe way to grind your opponent down.
See, and part of the problem that Penn State's put themselves into now is it's not just losing to UCLA, which is a dreadful team, but it's also if this had been to Indiana and you lost by 5 points to a really good quarterback and a really good team, you could explain that to the people that are going to decide the playoff teams. There's some subjectivity to it. But those people, if they're looking at Penn State against two other teams as an at-large team, are going to look at this game and say they lost to UCLA.
I know.
You know what I mean? So
There's just no excuse. But
it's just a really bad loss.
although I will say, I think it highlights that UCLA is not quite as bad as people thought. They might not be world beaters, but pretty good team, decent,
I,
you know.
I mean, it's possible. I'm really interested now to see what UCLA does the rest of
It's
the
the
year.
same with
Really.
Florida. I think
Yeah,
Florida and UCLA are better than what their record says they were.
I think that's right. I think that's right. Although when you look at how UCLA played in those first four games, they were pretty atrocious.
It was bad. Yeah, things were out of sync. So,
Yeah. Do you
you know,
think James Franklin can survive this season? I mean, they won his head.
yeah, because I don't think there's excessive amount of other options that are
Mhm.
better.
I
But
mean, they were already starting to talk about how he can't win the big game. We've seen that year after year after year, but now this kind of loss, it's just very damaging to his legacy. So,
I just don't think they're in the upper echelon. They're a top 10 team that shouldn't be considered one of the top two.
yeah, I
That's
think
just
you're
how
right.
I see it. I mean, all the evidence supports that. And when they're called out to be national champions and they lose
Hmm.
unexpectedly, it's not that shocking.
Right. That's true. Well, they were definitely overrated. Talking about
Yeah.
overrated,
Yeah.
Texas goes into the swamp really needing to prove themselves in a game against a Florida team that was kind of a desperate 1-3 team. They also have a coach who's on the hot seat and has been for a while. And they have a quarterback, Florida does, in DJ Lagway that had not been playing well this year, but had played well last year. And they were kind of waiting for him to break out. Well, he had his breakout, and it was against Texas,
Mhm.
and he looked significantly better than Arch Manning did in this
Yeah, he
game. I
looked good.
watched the whole thing. It was a great game. Florida kind of let Texas get back into it a little bit in the second half. But thoughts about this game, Florida taking down Texas?
To me, the most surprising team in the country this year has been Florida.
Hmm.
For me, because I had pretty high expectations for them. I thought they were very good. But as I've seen them play, they've just been terrible at times.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
but yeah, DJ Lagway didn't forget how to play football all of a sudden. So
Right,
you try and figure out what's going on. But he had a great game: 21 of 28, 298 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick, QBR of 94.9. Those are fantastic numbers.
right.
And you know, if you look at the way Texas, the vaunted defense, the best defense in the country, supposedly,
They
zero
got beat up.
sacks, 3 tackles for loss, a pick and a fumble recovery. Nice on the turnovers, but 0 sacks. I mean,
Yeah.
that's very few teams that won this week had 0 sacks.
And if you look at Arch's numbers compared to DJ Lagway's numbers, and DJ had been one of the worst quarterbacks in FBS to this point.
Yeah,
And
and
when you look
and
at Arch's numbers,
look at what Florida's defense did. 6 sacks, six.
I know, I know.
Six
They
sacks,
harassed
7
Arch all
tackles
day.
for fumble, for a loss, and two interceptions
I
of
think
Arch.
the blueprint to beat Arch Manning is you have to make him uncomfortable and you have to take him off his spot. That's what you have to do. And they decided in film study they were going to attack him from every angle, never let him get comfortable, make him move around in the pocket, move outside the pocket, and he's just not comfortable.
Yeah.
He had one great throw the whole day, and it was a fantastic throw. It was a long bomb touchdown.
It was beautiful.
And it was one of the few plays the whole day. He had a very clean pocket, and he had 3.5 seconds to throw. And he just unleashed it. And so he has the arm talent. There's no
Oh
doubt
yeah.
about that.
No, I'm a big Arch
But
fan
what he doesn't
under
have,
under the right circumstances of expectations. I
what he
think
doesn't have
it's
is
sad when I hear people talking about Penn State as national champions. It's sad when I hear about all this stuff that they talk about with Arch being Heisman Trophy winner the first year he's a starter. You can't predict that in advance. Like
but
you
Rob,
gotta let it play out.
what he doesn't have is he doesn't have this ability you need under stress and under duress to be able to make plays.
I,
He
I don't
just doesn't.
agree. What you're looking at is a quarterback that's not ready.
Yeah.
That's what
In
you're
his
looking at.
in his third year, he's not ready.
And
I
it's
don't
his
know.
first year starting though.
Yeah. I don't know. He looked incredibly uncomfortable all day, and
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it
don't
doesn't look
know.
good.
I don't know what's going to happen when he plays the
I
Georgias
think
and the
he's going to be a
Alabamas.
very good quarterback next year. I don't know if he'll get all the way back up to like Heisman level. I'm
Mhm.
not predicting that whatsoever. What I'm saying is I think he's going to be a pro prospect next year. I think he's going to have a good season next year. And I think we did him a huge disservice of our expectations for him this year. Just
Absolutely.
he can't live up to it.
So this next game was interesting. It was an SEC battle. It was a rematch from last year's big Vanderbilt upset of Alabama. And this kid Pavia is in his senior year. Last year as a junior, he upset Alabama, and he's been playing really well this year. I mean, really fantastic. And so a lot of people were saying maybe they can do it again. Of course, this game was in Tuscaloosa, which is a big difference. And it was very clear all day that Alabama was not only the better team, but Ty Simpson was playing at a much higher level than Pavia.
Yeah.
So, and Ryan Williams had a really huge day. He's one of the best receivers, maybe the third
Yeah, I
best.
think
The other two we
it's
talked about.
it's Ryan Williams, it's
Jeremiah
Malachi
Smith.
Tenney, and it's Jeremiah Smith. Those are the three they're going to be first round picks. They should
That's
be
right.
because all three are amazing.
Yeah. Thoughts about this game? Did it surprise you that Alabama was able to relatively easily beat Vanderbilt?
Uh no, it didn't surprise me. Did not surprise me. I felt like Alabama's a good team. They've been getting maligned. And
Mhm.
I think that they were due for a nice performance. And I think that it was just
Do you think Simpson can finally take the critics off his back now? I mean, he's
I
proven a
think
couple
so.
weeks in a row that he's played
I
really
think
well.
so. I think he's a good quarterback. He played well. Um, Pavia did okay.
It wasn't bad.
But a QBR 53.9, that's average, you know.
One of the
But
real complaints for Alabama this year is they haven't been able to run the ball very well. Well, they did in this game. This kid Miller
yeah,
went off.
yeah, they did.
And
Miller,
so
136 yards and a touchdown.
they were saying this was Miller's coming out party. He finally
Yeah.
showed what an Alabama back's
But,
supposed to be.
they also had some other contributions. They had multiple receivers go off a little bit. Ryan
Mhm.
Williams led the way with 6 catches for 98 yards and a touchdown. But they also had Jeremy Bernard, 5 for
Mhm.
82 and a touchdown.
Mhm.
So plenty of people getting the ball. And so I think
I think Vanderbilt is a very good team. They're definitely one of the bigger bowl teams. It'll probably be
yeah,
like a New Year's Day bowl because they're very good.
I
But
think Vanderbilt's a very good team, but they need to really jump up there to take down the big dog, and
they're not a top.
they got like one of those in them a season, you
They're
know.
not a top 10 team. They're
No,
not one of those
they
top
can't
3 or 4.
consistently beat these good teams.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Their program has really turned around, though. I'm very impressed how
Oh
they've been
yeah,
doing.
but I will say, Alabama won every stat category. I mean,
Absolutely.
everything from penalties to turnover battle to time of possession to yards throwing, yards running, all of it. I mean, they won every single category.
So this
Third
next
down
game,
efficiency.
Texas Tech proved that they're one of the better teams in the country. They played a very big rival of theirs, which is University of Houston. Both teams coming in 4-0,
Yeah.
and they just absolutely took them apart. And a lot of people were picking Houston either to upset or to maybe lose narrowly by like 3 points. They thought this would be a really, really good contest, and it just wasn't. And a lot of people are wondering maybe Texas Tech really is a top 10 team. It sure looks like it.
Pretty good.
So what do you think of Texas Tech, Texas A&M? I mean, both teams look like they're better than Texas this year. Texas is one of the maybe third or fourth best team in the state of Texas.
I'm not so sure about that. If they were to play a couple times, I think it'd be pretty even. So Texas Tech was favored by 11.5, and they exceeded that. They beat the spread. So they definitely brought Houston a little bit of pain. I mean, they brought Houston down to earth a little bit.
And they have a really balanced offense, which I like. Texas Tech.
And I don't think Houston's really playing anybody. So
Texas Tech can really run the ball, and their quarterback is starting to round into shape. It's looking really good.
Yeah.
They're a dangerous team, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I agree.
So watch out for Texas Tech.
They're good.
I agree. So Kentucky goes into Georgia, into Athens, and plays a very angry Georgia team coming off the Alabama loss. Mm-hmm. Usually Kentucky gives them a much better game than this. It's usually a really close game.
They normally throw the ball a lot.
Yeah. What was your take on this and why UK couldn't compete a little bit more than they did this day?
For me, it goes back to look at the stats. I can't stand when my quarterback throws the ball more than 40 times. 25 of 41. I don't like that stat line. I think it's way too much throwing the ball. 225, 2 touchdowns, a pick. 77 QBR is good, but they could not run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't run the ball. So they always throw well, Kentucky, but they're just not enough there. And they had a nice balanced attack. Rushing yards 45 to 180. It wasn't close. So Georgia just controlled the clock, controlled the game, pounded the ball. Gunnar Stockton had 48 yards rushing and 2 running touchdowns.
He looked really good in this game, Stockton.
Yeah, he's a dual threat. He's a real dual threat. 15 of 23, 196 yards, a touchdown, throwing, and a pick. 92.8 QBR.
I realized watching this game that there's only a couple teams in the country that can beat Georgia.
Yeah.
There's maybe 5 teams in the country that can beat them, and a team like Kentucky just cannot. They're just overmatched at almost every position.
Yep.
So
they win all the little battles.
Georgia wins the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. They're going to win. So
they're going to bulldoze you and keep getting first downs and wear you out and run up, time of possession and just.
Mm-hmm. And really, it took a special effort by Ty Simpson to beat Georgia. Usually Georgia would beat Alabama, I think.
Yeah.
So our friend Luke's team, unfortunately, their first loss of the year, they dropped to 5-1. Played one of their big rivals, Cincinnati. Apparently, I didn't know this, but these 2 teams have been rivals for a while in the Big 12. Cincinnati played a very inspired game, and their offense really was rolling in this game. It was pretty fun to watch, actually. Becht had a pretty good game, did throw the ball a lot, 30 for 46.
Listen, here's the trend. 30 of 48, 314, 2 touchdowns, no picks.
Yeah.
So he protected the ball, but he threw too many times. And so it became one-dimensional, and they just.
And did you notice who ran the ball more? Cincinnati. This was a really good game, very, tight, lots of battles on both sides of the scrimmage. I thought either team could win it, but overall, Cincinnati was just a little bit better on this day.
But you tell me which stat line is going to win this game without me telling you which quarterback is which. 30 of 48 for 314 yards or 13 of 25 for 214 yards.
Yep. That's
the
the one.
lesser is going to win
Right.
almost all the time. If you don't see a trend now by these stats, when the last 3 or 4 games in a row have all had quarterbacks that lost, threw the ball 45 times, 44 times, whatever, 30.
And you know why that is? Because
Yeah,
the team that's behind, which Iowa State was behind the entire day, the team that's
right.
behind it throws all the time.
They're
So that's why.
constantly throwing to preserve
Yeah,
clock and all this other stuff, but it
yeah,
throws you out of your offensive rhythm.
right. And what happens is it just pads the stats. It doesn't really say anything.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
this was Cincinnati's biggest win in about 5 years, and their stadium emptied onto the field, kind of like Virginia's did. The students were really excited about this one. So kind of fun to watch, but feel bad for Iowa State. Next game, Michigan and Underwood have a really nice day, 24 to 10.
Yeah.
Wisconsin just can't score. I mean, if you look at them, any games this year, any games that they did win or were close, they're usually like 21 to 17 type games. They just can't score, and Michigan does enough. They run the ball a lot, and Underwood is really in control, playing really well for a youngster. Any thoughts about Michigan here, rolling up another Big Ten win?
Just solid performance. Underwood's playing nicely, really nicely. He's got a lot of weapons. They can run the ball. They really can, which is not surprising. Look at the Michigan offensive line every single year,
Mm-hmm.
and they always got some nice defense.
Yeah, this
They give
kid
up 10 points in this whole game, so I mean that's pretty outstanding.
Justice Haynes for Michigan, this running back. Watch him, man. He's gonna be a really good player.
Yeah,
He was kind of bruising. He can not only go the distance, he's like a home run hitter, but he's also like an Ashton Genty. If you hit him in the hole, he'll knock you over. So he's literally both. Yeah, I really like watching him. So Notre Dame takes apart Boise State. A lot of people thought this might be a really competitive game. Boise's always a solid program, but Madsen didn't play very well, had 4 interceptions. And Notre Dame's defense just really led the way here. And Jeremiah Love had a couple really nice runs.
I mean, I love Jeremiah Love. When they use him well, I think that they're almost impossible to beat. And I think that Notre Dame is chock full of NIL money. They're good recruiting nationally anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they have a really decisive advantage over most of the top teams. So they should be back in the playoff every single year for the next 5 years.
Although, they
And
started
Boise
this season
State's a little down, in my opinion. I don't
a
think
little
they're
bit.
a shell of what they were last year.
A little bit. I agree. They're still a pretty good team, but
They're okay.
Notre Dame started 0-2, and a lot of people wrote them off and said that they're done. And you remember you and I talked about it and said, I don't know. If you look at their schedule,
Yeah.
there's no reason Notre Dame can't rip off 10 in a row.
No. They should be able to.
It looks like they're on their way.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. That's what they're going to have to do to make
Let's
it.
put it that way. A lot of football to be played.
They really cannot afford to drop a third game. They're kind of
There's
like Penn
very
State.
few teams that have recruited like they have over the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very few teams can recover from 0-2, but they're definitely one of them. They can do it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Illinois picks up another win against Purdue, 43-27. Lots of offense in this one. Altmaier really looked like that pro scout we thought he could be. And Illinois really runs the ball well and took advantage of a couple of turnovers. So, Illinois keeps rolling. Any thought here?
No surprise. No surprise. Purdue is really down this year. Illinois is really up this year. It should be a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
Purdue's offense did okay. They hung in there.
Mm-hmm.
But Illinois just rolled.
Yeah. It's a fun Big Ten game to watch. I was watching the highlights of this one. There's just a lot of offense on both sides.
I like Altmaier a lot. I don't think he gets enough credit.
I agree with that. So next game was really exciting for us. Virginia pulls out a win in overtime against Louisville. And what was interesting, and some of the broadcasters afterwards were saying one thing they really like about this Virginia team is there's finding different ways to win. In this game, we took 2 defensive touchdowns back, a fumble and an interception back for touchdowns. And, good teams find ways to win, and that's what this team did. They didn't have their best offensive day, and, Moss felt like he was the better quarterback on this day. But, Virginia ran the ball well and took advantage of their opportunities. So thoughts about this game?
Moss is a good quarterback.
He is.
So that was a formidable opponent. Louisville was favored by 6.5, even though Virginia was ranked and Louisville wasn't. But I will say that Chris Bell was awesome. 12 for 170 and 2 touchdowns receiving. If it weren't for him, this probably would have been a blowout.
I think you're right. You know what? It's funny. You named the first 3 best wide receivers in football already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he's number 4.
He's probably right there.
He's absolutely unstoppable. I mean, it was so sad in the first half. We kept putting different guys on him, covering him, double teaming him. He was just unstoppable.
It didn't matter how we guarded him. He was getting his.
He's going to be a heck of a pro, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I agree.
He's a really good player. This was a great win because it was at Louisville, on the road. Louisville's very hard to beat at their house.
Yeah.
Really good quarterback play, good defense on both sides, and the Cavs found a way to get it done. So
yeah,
that's all you can say. So
thoughts that was a tough one, man. That was a tough one.
Thoughts about, does this do anything to Louisville's season? I mean, they can still win out too. They've got a really good team.
I think they still got a shot at the ACC championship.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't predict that. I don't think they'll be there at the end. I think they'll be like a top 4 ACC team.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they're not gonna get in.
They're solid. That's who I look at.
They won't make the finals, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. I don't think so either. That was a really fun game to watch. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, same.
Clemson takes North Carolina apart. It got so bad. It got so bad. It was 35-3 at half, and about half the stadium emptied out. And it was so bad that Belichick afterwards felt it necessary to not only give his regular press conference, but he actually spoke directly to North Carolina fans and asked them to please stick with us. Don't empty out again. He basically was talking to the fans. But, I mean, could you blame them as badly as this team is playing? I mean, it was unwatchable.
I'll tell you, man, I like North Carolina pretty well. I went one time when Virginia played there, and I saw the strangest behavior from their fans. We started scoring on them a little bit, and I heard them turn on their own team. Like, here we go again, and our team always is terrible. And I couldn't believe the people around me. I was stunned. Now, the weirdest thing was Carolina bounced back and won the game, but their fans were real, like, strange. Like, I don't know. It was an odd experience.
But do you think that that's just trauma for so many years of being disappointing? I mean, because they always disappoint.
It's definitely trauma. And what's weird is I know a lot of Carolina fans that are really cool, nice people. They have a lot to root for. It's an amazing school. It was just really strange in our football. They're so traumatized by letdowns that they're ready to pull the plug on their own team.
I mean, Rob, this was really embarrassing, man. It should never be this bad.
I couldn't believe it. I think it was the first 2 or 3 times Clemson touched the ball, they took it to the house.
Yeah.
It was literally the first play of the game, and then like the next time they were on offense.
I mean, if this was a Clemson team from like 2018 when they're winning the national title, then that's one thing. But this is a very stripped down Clemson team. It's not very good. And they just demolished North Carolina. So what do you think is going to happen to Carolina this year?
They just look more athletic and faster.
Yeah. I mean, North Carolina looked like they had, like mud in their cleats or something.
Yeah, they looked really slow compared to Clemson.
Can Belichick turn this around, or does he need another year of bringing guys in through the portal?
Oh, he needs 1 or 2 more years.
Yeah.
They look
And will
slow.
and will this be a turnaround for Clemson? Do you think they can take this and build some momentum?
Eh, eh. It's not that Carolina's a bad team. It's just it's hard to imagine that this is going to give you a lot of momentum.
Yeah. Well, it gives you a little bit more confidence if you can score that much, which they did. Klubnik with 4 touchdowns. So I don't know. It was an interesting ACC match to watch. Wake Forest takes out Virginia Tech. That's why this weekend has been a perfect football weekend for me. Virginia wins, Virginia Tech loses, and my Carolina Panthers win. So it's been pretty darn perfect. But thoughts about Wake taking out the Hokies?
Well, we've talked about it many times. Wake is a scary team. They jump up and bite a few people throughout the season, and they're easy to take lightly.
They are. For them to go into Hokie Stadium
They always have a lot of good athletes, though.
and do this, it was kind of surprising to me. I thought Virginia Tech was going to win this game by 3, probably. And yeah, Wake is very tough, and they're very difficult to play. They
Yeah.
run the ball on you. They're very fundamentally sound. They don't do penalties. They don't turn the ball over. So I don't know. It's a good result there. Final game to talk about: SMU takes out a good Syracuse team that now has lost 3 in a row. They started the year 3-0. Now they're 3-3. SMU had been kind of not what we were expecting this year, but they really looked like it in this game. Jennings really came alive for SMU. And what are your thoughts about these two teams? Feels like SMU is a little bit back on track, and feels like Syracuse, good start, is kind of being squandered now.
Yeah, Syracuse, I think, had some nice games, jumped up there, definitely has talent, but maybe expectations were getting away from us a little bit. And SMU is really hard to play against and really easy to underestimate. I think
And
Syracuse,
realizing too that Syracuse lost their quarterback after that week 3 game. So
right?
now they played 3 weeks in a row without their starting quarterback, and it really shows.
Yeah,
So
SMU is just quietly beating on people.
mhm. They had a slow start this year too, but they're starting to get it back now.
Yeah, they are.
We'll see. I think they're still a top 4 ACC team, but
Yeah, top 4 or 5.
not as good as we thought they were going to be this year. So
No, they might be at the end of the season. They might have it all pulled together. We'll see.
looking at our AP top 25 this week, Ohio State stays at 1. Miami moves up to 2. I mean, they've moved all the way up. You got Oregon 3, Ole Miss 4, A&M now is in the top 5. We talked about how good they are. Oklahoma 6, all the way up there without Mateer. Indiana 7. Bama's back up to 8 after falling to 18. Texas Tech now at 9 and Georgia at 10. And then our Virginia Cavaliers all the way up to 19, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Thoughts about this AP Top 25? Anything that you
It's pretty good.
disagree with?
I don't entirely 100% agree with all of it, but it's not bad. It's
Georgia
pretty
Tech up to
close.
13. That's kind of cool to see. They're
Yeah,
really
that's
having a
cool.
good year. Yeah. Vanderbilt at 20. Florida State's barely hanging on in the top 25. I think Tennessee maybe a little higher. They're a really good team.
Higher than
Um,
12?
yeah, I think there might be a top 10 team. I guess we'll see here in the next couple of weeks. They're playing some really tough competition. LSU got up to number 4 at their height this year, but of course lost a really bad one.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of problems with this. I think this is about right, especially that top 10.
Yeah, I think top 10 is pretty good.
You look at the coaches' top 10, it's a little bit different than the AP top 10. You can see here they've got Oregon and Miami switched. The coaches do. Everything else is pretty much the same. They also have Texas Tech and Georgia switched, but essentially it's almost exactly the same as the other top 10. They do have Oregon at number 2. So which of these do you think is right for those top 3? Do you think Miami's 2 or Oregon's 2?
Uh, I don't know. I think I think the top three can be in any order, really.
Hmm. I don't know. I'd love to see Oregon play Miami. I think that'd be an incredible game. Um,
It would be cool.
I feel like Oregon's two, Miami's three, but
Maybe.
we'll find out. Look at the NFL. We got the 49ers took out the Rams in a really surprising result Thursday night. This was in Los Angeles. Everyone assumed that the Rams were going to win because you had 49ers starting their backup quarterback again in Mac Jones. Rams actually had a pretty good day offensively, and yet somehow the 49ers come out with a victory in this one, and it's really surprising. What is your thought about this? How in the world are the 49ers at 4-1?
They're running the ball well. They're using McCaffrey, who's healthy, both out of the backfield and running the ball. They dominate their opponent with time of possession, 40 minutes and 4 seconds versus 26:20. So, not quite twice as much time of possession, but close. And they just grind you down, and they run two-headed monster at you. And Brian Robinson and
And this kid Bourne, he was on New England last year, and last year he was a decent
yeah,
wide receiver
Kendrick
for New
Bourne,
England.
he had a
But
big game, 142 yards.
10
McCaffrey
catches for 142.
McCaffrey had 82 yards rushing and a touchdown. So I'm
Isn't this
sorry,
a
82
little
yards receiving,
embarrassing?
57 yards rushing.
Isn't it a little embarrassing for the Rams? They're fully healthy, and 49ers are really banged up, and they let them come into their house and beat them. I just think it's, if you're going to be a contender this year, you just can't let this happen.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's impressive what the 49ers are doing with their MASH unit. This
Yeah.
next game, Dylan Gabriel actually played really well in his first start. I watched this game early in the morning, and for much of the game, I really felt like the Browns were going to win, and they really were in really good position to do so. Carson Wentz leads the Vikings down the field with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left and throws the winning touchdown with 23 seconds left and pulls out a victory. Judkins had a really big day for Cleveland running the ball. Jefferson had his normal, really great day. Carson Wentz looked solid. Thoughts about this squeaker of a win by the Vikings?
Well, I think the fact that it was in London makes it interesting. The Browns had a lot of fight in them there, and Dylan Gabriel gave him a nice performance, but decent performance. Um, but
He looked good. I thought
it
he was
just,
solid.
yeah, he looked good. It's just too much. Minnesota was just a little too much for him, but it was really close.
Minnesota has so many weapons.
Jefferson had 123 yards receiving, 7
Mhm.
catches.
And Mason had a nice day, and they have Addison.
Yeah,
They're just
Addison
kind of
gave him a lot
loaded
of
with
production.
weapons, you know.
Yeah, yeah, they have a lot of weapons, and
Yeah.
uh, Wentz can play decent, when it's called for. So
And the Browns defense is going to have them in every game. I just don't think they're going to win many of them, but that defense is so stout, they'll be in most games. So this game was shocking just from the score standpoint. It looked like the Raiders weren't ready to play. Geno Smith just looks really pathetic on a lot of drives. I don't even know what to make of Geno Smith anymore. He just throws way too many picks. He threw a couple passes that should have been picked but weren't. And the Colts look like they're really a contender now. I mean, they really look good. They've got a really great roster on both sides of the ball. So, thoughts about this game and the Colts and the Raiders?
Colts Raiders was pretty lopsided overall. There's a lot of talent on the Raiders, but they just didn't look like a great team, especially that day. If you think about Daniel Jones having the kind of year he is, 20 of 29, 212, 2 touchdowns, and a QBR of 79.3. This is a guy that everyone was saying throw him on a trash heap
Right.
last
He's
year.
playing fantastic.
Jonathan Taylor was a beautiful he had a beautiful performance.
Yeah.
17 for 66 yards, 3 touchdowns rushing. And then a couple of things jumped out at me. One was their red zone. Las Vegas 0 for 4, and the Colts were 6 for 6.
And by the way, Tyler
in the red
Warren
zone.
was the steal of the draft, I think.
Yeah,
You mentioned it. You're like,
and I called it. Yeah.
they got him. Oh my God, he's the next Brock Bowers, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, man, is he
I
good.
actually called that back in college.
You did.
When he was in
You're like,
college.
this guy, it's gonna be a great pro.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. I
The
mean,
only
the
thing that
fact that
stops him is if he has injuries, and
you
there's
know,
no way to
if they didn't have Tyler Warren, they would still be a really great roster. They still be a
prove.
really good team.
That's absolutely right.
But then you plug in this guy who's a weapon. That's what he is.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have Pittman and you have all these guys.
Downs. Yeah,
And they have one of the best offensive lines in football.
yeah,
Definitely a top 5 line. So I don't know. I'm very impressed with the Colts. It's no longer a fluke anymore.
yeah. No, that's
This
good.
game made no sense at all. You had this great first week by Jackson Dart, and then he just looked absolutely horrific in this game with all kinds of bad picks and bad throws. Scadaboo had a really nightmarish game for him, including a fumble that was taken back for a touchdown by Shaheen. You know, they lost to a really bad Saints team. I guess both teams are bad, but thoughts about this game, what it means for the Giants, what it means for the Saints?
So I think the Giants came down to earth a little bit. They were pretty pumped up because they had these young guys came in, breathed some life into them. They win last week, but the reality set in. But again, here's the stat line for Dart: 26 for 40, 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 7 yards for 55 rushing, 7 carries for 55 rushing. So 40 throws is just too much, and I think that's going to lose most of the time.
And
Spencer
also,
Rattler, 21 for 31, 225, a touchdown, and 0 picks. Rashid Shaheed, 4 for 114, 110 yards. I'm sorry, 1 touchdown and receiving. So
you know, Spencer Rattler was 0-10 going into this game as a starter, and he actually looked pretty darn decent. So
yeah,
happy for him. He got his first win.
if wants to summarize it down, there were 5 turnovers, 5 by New York Giants, and 0 for the Saints.
And what was interesting is not only did Jackson Dart have the 2 picks, but he had one where he tried to double clutch the ball and just fumbled it right in front of himself. And the guy dove
Yeah.
on it. Just like Bryce Young had one of those too. And you're just like, what are you doing? But
Yeah.
the thing that doesn't go in the stat sheet about Dart is those 2 picks he threw. Both of them were terrible drive killers. They were like at the worst time you could do. One of them was at the 10-yard line in the red zone. And
Yeah.
you can't have that. And it felt like a couple of those picks were very similar to what we would see like 7 years ago with Josh Allen, when he would have all those inexplicable picks that he's now been able to get rid of. And so I think Jackson Dart over time will get rid of those. You know, those are
I do
just a
too.
lot of those are rookie, really bad throws.
The problem with Dart is he plays with a lot of emotion, which is great when things are going well, but it really can work against you when things get tough. And I don't know. I like fiery, but I don't want somebody to be fiery at the wrong moments. Or
Well, he's also a gunslinger, and
he's a
you saw
gunslinger.
what happened. There's times with Mahomes
You
and
live and
Hurts.
die with it, you know.
Yeah, you know, live and die with it. So they got to figure out, how do you get the good side of the gunslinger? How do you erase the bad side? And that's what they're going to have to figure out how to do. So Cowboys take out the Jets, go to 2-2-1. This game wasn't even this close. The Jets had a real nice comeback in the fourth quarter, but for the most part, we're pretty feckless all day. You see Fields' stats there, 32 for 46. That's not a recipe for success for the Jets. And are the Jets going to win a game this year?
Yes.
I was
But
talking to my buddy,
probably one.
the Jets fan, and he said they are absolute toast. He said they're going to win like maybe 2 games this year.
Yeah, they're not very
And
good.
And I said, "Is Aaron Glenn the right guy?" He said, "No." He said, "Aaron Glenn is a defensive coordinator." He's like, "That's not what we needed. We needed somebody who can come in and give us some life to our offense." And he's real disappointed. But so does this say more about the Cowboys or the Jets? I mean, are the Cowboys legit? They've looked pretty good a couple weeks in a row, or is it just that the Jets are really bad?
Okay, so I bash on the Cowboys a lot. Um, I feel like I'm pretty hard on them. I think they're not a bad team. Their defense is terrible, but offensively, when they get clicking, they're pretty dangerous. But nonetheless, this said a lot about the Jets. It didn't
I
say very
think
much
so.
about the Cowboys.
I think
The
so.
Cowboys are going to lose most of their games the rest of the year. And it's going to be a big turnoff for their fans, but they'll come back. They're Cowboy fans. So,
I
but
will tell you, I will tell you, Dak Prescott is playing well this year. He
not
is.
bad. Yeah, not bad.
And this kid Jamal Williams gives them a running game they haven't had in a couple
Yeah.
of years. So I see them like 9-8. That's the kind of team I see them.
I think less than that.
Maybe 8-9.
7-10, 6
Yeah,
and 11, something like that.
yeah.
They're
And
gonna
the
have a losing
Jets, I think the Jets might get the number one pick. I really do. They're just horrific. There's just nothing really good that's happening there.
The Jets are down there. I thought the Saints were there, but they looked okay this week. So
Do you know the
there's a couple,
Jets?
couple bad teams.
Justin Fields completed 32 passes. Do you know how many of those were over 10 yards?
1,
Two.
2,
Two.
yeah,
So, he's throwing little 2 yard, 3 yard dink and dunks all day. It's not going to get it done. You're not going to score. So, I
yeah.
don't know. We'll see what happens with both those teams. This game was pretty interesting. I see a trend, Robbie, this year with a lot of NFL teams that get way up. Like the Eagles went up 17-0 in this game, and you find the Broncos came storming back and end up winning the game in the end. I don't know what's wrong with the Eagles this year, but it seems like every single game they have at least one half that is abysmal, and where their offense just stalls out, and that happened again this game.
I know what happened this game. They decided that they were going to listen to their disgruntled wide receivers or wide receiver AJ Brown, and they're going to prioritize getting him the ball over anything else, which means Saquon Barkley is going to touch the ball a lot less. So, in trying to get AJ Brown the ball a lot more, they targeted him and it threw them out of their offense. So,
That's a really good point.
yeah. So, trying to take care of the ego of their wide receivers, they ended up throwing quite a lot to Devontae Smith, 8 for 114 yards. But AJ Brown, they threw him five times and 43 yards. Just not enough for your star.
Mhm.
And the stat of the day for me was Saquon Barkley, 6 for 30 yards.
What's interesting about that? The Broncos have a really good run stuffing defense. So
Oh
the other
yeah,
thing you have to realize is that the Eagles are looking at the tape and going, "How are we going to run on these guys?" And then the other thing I noticed was the Broncos had put a lot of pressure on Hurts. I mean, a lot of pressure,
yeah.
especially really key downs.
They were one of 2 teams that had 6 or more sacks this
Yeah.
week.
So
And
I feel like the Broncos won this game because I don't think Bo Nix played particularly well.
he did okay, 24 for 39, 242, a
He's
touchdown, no
been
pick.
okay this year. He's not been great.
He's been good. He's been good not turning the ball over.
That's true. I've been waiting for him to break out. I think he will, but he's just
I do
kind
too.
of
I think he's going to be fine.
yeah.
Peyton
We
loves
shall,
him. So
we'll see. So this game, your Dolphins lost to my Panthers in the last quarter.
brutal.
I actually attended this game in Charlotte. It was a lot of fun with my friend Jeff, who invited me. Thank you, Jeff. And this game started out absolutely.
And I'd like to thank you, Jeff, for not inviting me.
This started out like gangbusters for the Dolphins, who went up 17-0 very quickly, and Tua was absolutely dicing up the Panthers. And then the Panthers kind of got themselves together, and they found a little bit of a flaw in the Dolphins defense, and you could actually see it from the stands. They started running over right guard and right tackle, almost always to the right side, with Rico Dowdle, because Chuba Hubbard was out for this game. And Dowdle ends up having a career day because they just kept running it and running it and running it and running it over and over and over, and running it down the Dolphins' throat. And it really worked. And they started picking up steam.
They were like, "I'm going to run until you stop us."
And then Bryce Young could start doing play action and getting it to Ted McMillan. It was pretty impressive to see how the Panthers came back in this game. But what are your thoughts about this game, and what does this mean for both teams?
I'm going to give you one stat that tells the whole story. You can talk about the arc of the game where it was definitely tilted in favor of the Dolphins, and then the Panthers came back strong. But listen to this stat line. Rushing yards. Miami 19, Carolina 239. 239 for Carolina versus 19.
Right.
That's all you need to know.
How is that possible with the shape?
If you're effectively running the ball, you're controlling the clock, you're controlling the game, you're controlling the number of possessions, you're manhandling the other team, you're hurting them, you're pounding them down with. It takes more energy to play defense. You are playing smash mouth, and you're punishing the other team. And if you can do that effectively and rack up those yards, and then hold them to stop them from doing the same thing, you're going to win that game 99 to 100% of the time.
But isn't that on coaching? I mean, they're the ones who call the plays.
Well, I think there's plenty of blame to go around. Yeah,
Coaches
it starts
call the
with
plays.
coaching, but it's offensive line blocking, it's tight end blocking, it's the running back. It's called at the right time. So
what is it with Dolphins both sides of their line? I mean, they're not good on either side of the ball. Like what is going on with the lines? Because it was Swiss cheese for that defense.
Yeah, I just saw it was Carolina just started blocking really well in the second half. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
I saw holes open up and just, they started to run wild. So
how nice is it to have a kid like Dowdle as your backup running back?
Oh, yeah, it's nice.
Now, I will say Jalen Waddle had a really nice day. It was fun to watch him play. I hadn't seen him live before. And
yeah, he's awesome.
He did the waddle after his touchdown, which was really cool. So I know your boys would have loved that to see him do the waddle.
I love that guy. Just he doesn't quite have enough help, but 6 for 110, and one touchdown.
He's trying to step up in light of Tyreek Hill being out for the season, and he is. But where do you think the Dolphins go from here? I mean, sitting at 1-4, they're in a tough division.
It's hard to say. They're in a tough division. I don't know. I think they're going to spoil some people's playoff hopes, and probably not get in themselves. So,
you think the Panthers can make a run?
Not a run. No. They can end decently and
like
turn
fringe wild card, maybe 9-8 or something. No,
maybe. I doubt. Maybe.
They'd have to go 7-5 the rest of the way. That'd be pretty tough.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. So Texans absolutely destroy and demolish the Ravens. And by the way, the Texans are not very good this year.
No.
But they did have Nick Chubb going off, and they had C.J. Stroud had a nice day. The only guy who had a good day for Baltimore was Zay Flowers with 5 catches. But what is going on with the Ravens, man? I mean, they shouldn't be this bad without Lamar.
They can't run the ball.
Yeah.
They don't have any balanced attack. Rushing yards, 167 for Houston, 167, 44 for Baltimore. 4 times as many, almost.
And also, their defense is absolutely atrocious. I've never seen anything like it. How bad their defense is.
Yeah.
And
Listen to this.
I,
Red zone tries, 4 for 5 for Houston.
mhm,
4 out of 5 times. And 1 out of 2 for Baltimore. So that means they only got in the red zone twice and they scored on one of them.
mhm,
It's just not good enough.
yeah. I asked you last week if you thought Cooper Rush could keep them afloat. You said no. And it's looking like you're right. He's not going to be able to keep them afloat.
Yeah.
Um, this may be just a lost year. They may even decide that they're going to put Lamar on the shelf, maybe. I mean, if they get to 1-6, what's the point? I don't know.
It's all about timing.
Yeah.
You have to analyze the timing, the medical situation, all of it.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to rush him back and risk him for
No.
next year? I don't know. It's going to be really interesting conversations in Baltimore. This game was absolutely bonkers. I mean, how in the world the Cardinals lost this game, I will never understand. with the
It was
game,
one of the worst beats I've ever seen, really. One of.
this kid DeMarcado, the running back, drops the
Yeah.
ball at the half-yard line as he's going into the end zone, and the ball goes out of the bounds and is a touchback instead of a touchdown. So
It
that
was
right
pitiful.
there was a 14-point swing, and then the Cardinals get an interception near the goal line and
Yeah.
fumble it, and it goes into the end
They
zone, and the
fumbled
Titans fall on a
backwards into their
concussion.
own end zone, and the Titans jump on it and score a touchdown.
So, have you ever seen two plays like that in the
No.
same game?
It was so sad. It was pitiful.
So, I am happy for Cam Ward, though. He got his first win. But
Yeah. Yeah,
does
I'm
this
really
say?
excited for him.
I
But
mean,
man, the way it happened, oof.
aren't the Cardinals better than this, man, talent wise? I mean, they
No.
just are.
They're a train wreck.
They should be 4-1. I mean, that's the bottom line. They should be. Titans are
I don't
really
know about
bad.
4-1, but they're losing games they should be winning. So
Hmm. Well, I don't even know what to say about this game. It was the craziest ending I've ever seen. Really, really bonkers. So both teams not very good. Cardinals have more talent than the Titans do. They should be a winning team right now, and they're just finding ways to lose. And I think that's on coaching. So, Buccaneers take out the Seahawks in what I thought was the best game of the entire season, other than maybe the 40-40 tie between the Cowboys and Packers. That was a great game. This game was unbelievable. I mean, Baker Mayfield is playing at an elite MVP level. He's got this kid Egbuka, who may be the
oh
rookie
yeah.
of the year.
Oh yeah. He's
I think he's
so
going to be the
good.
rookie of the year. Seattle's Sam Darnold is playing at an incredibly high level. They can run the ball. They both have good defenses, although not on this day. But this was like one of those knockout, drag out slugfest. Felt like a playoff game. So really, really fun to watch. What are your thoughts about this one?
Yeah, this was the battle of the quarterbacks, you know. Quarterback play was outstanding in this game. Um, Egbuka has been, this is like my best case scenario is playing out on the field.
You
It's,
talked about it during the draft episode. You talked
I
about
know,
Egbuka.
I
Yeah.
know. He holds a bunch of Ohio State catching records, and they've had a lot of good receivers. It's they rival LSU to be wide receiver U. So
So he's Ohio State, and guess who the second best receiver was in this game for the
um,
Seahawks? Smith and Jigba, who
Smith
came
and
from
Jigba,
Ohio
yeah,
State.
yep,
So it's like, how many Ohio State incredible
yeah,
players
he went
do you
off.
have?
He did 8 for 132 and a touchdown. Just awesome.
You could name off 6 other All-Pro wide receivers right now in the NFL that all came from Ohio State. You really could. I mean, Terry McLaurin, and I could just go down
Easily.
this huge list.
Yeah,
And now you got Jeremiah Smith on the way, and you got
yep.
Tate on the way. It's pretty cool to see all the Ohio State power wide receivers. But this was the fourth out of 5 games that Baker Mayfield led a fourth quarter comeback to win the game. Like, how is this guy doing this?
Yeah, he's got ice in his veins.
They were joking about, you remember Fitzmagic, who used to play for the Dolphins?
Yeah.
Fitzmagic. They're saying
But
now it's
but
Baker.
Baker has more talent.
Oh yeah, way more talent. He made some of the nicest throws I've ever seen in this game. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Darnold had a couple that were really gorgeous too.
Yeah, it was an outstanding quarterback game.
These two guys
Both
were on the trash heap of history from the Panthers, my team, and I'm just sick about it. And they're both playing at an
just try
all-pro
not to
level.
think about it, man.
Does it surprise you how these two guys are playing?
No, they both played well last year, so no. They
Yeah.
they're going to play well this year too.
Do you think Baker could be MVP? Is it possible?
Hard to say.
No. I think it's possible.
I think
I
it's
think
very unlikely.
I think he'll get some votes, whether he wins it.
Very unlikely, but
Yeah.
you don't need that. That's not a requirement. You want to win. You want good production from the quarterback position. And if your quarterback's in contention, it means you've done a good job. So, as an offense,
I
so
believe both these teams will make the playoffs, whether they win their division or not. Bucks are going to win their division, but Seahawks will probably be a wild card. But both these teams are playoff teams. You can just see it.
Yeah.
So, next game, your Lions, who you think's the best team in football.
Yeah.
They demolished the Bengals until the fourth quarter. I don't know why they let up in the fourth.
It's kind of lit up a little at the end. This
Yeah.
wasn't close. It wasn't
Yeah.
close.
Goff played great. Montgomery, all the other backs had big days. St. Brown.
There's so many stars on the Lions.
It's crazy how many players they have.
Florida,
Hutchison was going crazy.
Montgomery, and Jahmyr Gibbs running the ball. Amon-Ra St. Brown. They're
Yeah.
loaded, and they have a great offensive line, and their
Right.
defense went crazy.
And they had a couple tight ends I'd never heard of make big
Their
catches.
defense had 4 sacks.
I was watching this game, and I was like, they had their
5
second tight end. I was watching this game. They had the second tight end make a big catch. Then they had their third tight end make a big catch. I was like, how many tight ends do they have?
I know. And Tom, their DBs got 3 picks.
Yeah.
So they're just I really hold that they're the best team in football, and they would have been last year if they had been healthy. They would have beaten the Eagles.
You do notice that Jamar Chase still got his, even when he was a backup quarterback. He's going to get his.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they have the best receiver in football. I'm saying that they have the best roster in football.
St. Brown's pretty close.
St. Brown's real close. He's like top 5.
Yep.
But
so this game was really fun to watch because obviously Commanders are my second team. And to see them go into Los Angeles and beat a really good Chargers team, 27-10. Jaden Daniels comes back after his injury and looks really shaky in the first quarter, but then really turns it on the rest of the game. And then they have this rookie, Bill Krosky Merritt, who had like the game of his life. Deebo Samuel had a really nice game. What do you think about this game and the Commanders going into hostile territory and winning pretty comfortably?
Jaden looked great again, so that's where it all starts. Can the offensive line protect him? And when they do, does he look like Jaden Daniels? And he did. 15-26, 231, a touchdown.
And when they can run the ball, they're like almost unstoppable.
QBR 71.7 and 8 for 39 rushing. He's like Lamar.
He is.
When Lamar's on, he looks like Jaden Daniels. So, like, however you want to say it, these two guys resemble each other with good running ability, really good running ability, and they can throw from the pocket.
Yeah.
And they have good leadership skills. So to me, he's the next Lamar Jackson.
And I noticed when the Commanders can also run the ball in the same game, their margins of victory go way up. And they ran the ball really well in this game. So, and Deebo gives him an element they have never had before. He really is like this Swiss Army knife. Gives him a really nice element.
He's so useful. They can use him in every single way. 96 yards receiving and a touchdown. Fantastic. But I think the Commanders' defense didn't get enough credit here. look what they did to the Chargers. They held them to 10 points. They got 5 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, an interception, and a fumble recovery. That's pretty outstanding defense.
By the way, you saw that the running back for the Chargers, the rookie, got hurt, unfortunately. So
Omari and Hampton.
yeah, he's out for a couple weeks.
Oh, is he? I
So
need to
that's
take him out of my lineup then.
The other thing that I would mention is that you have to realize the Chargers came into this game with neither one of their starting tackles, Slater or Joe Alt.
Yeah.
And they're just not the same team without those two guys.
They're not.
Yeah.
Listen, Harbaugh says it best. He says, my offensive linemen are weapons.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's how he feels. Red zone, 3 for 5 for Washington and 1 for 2 for the Chargers. So clearly they got down there more often and they made them pay. So it was a good performance. That defense for the Commanders went a little bit unheralded. They played great.
So this game was kind of surprising last night. The Patriots take out the Bills in Buffalo. Really, really solid game. Josh Allen did not look sharp at all, and Drake May did. Drake May, I think, has really come into his own this season. He really looks good. He's making a lot fewer mistakes, and he's really got the ball right on the money most of the time. Stephon Diggs came back home in this game, and you could tell he really wanted it badly. There was nobody on the field who wanted to win more than Stephon Diggs against his old team. So thoughts about this game, and do you think the Patriots have arrived?
Arrived is a strong word. I would say, generally speaking, the Patriots played them real tough. The Bills were a little flat, I think they've been slightly overrated this year too. And I think that I've been kind of waiting for them to get a little bit of a wake-up call. In division, AFC East is tough. That's not a division where there's a lot of you play around a lot.
It is.
So I think that is this a surprise to me? No. I'm not the biggest Josh Allen fan, but I can point out when he plays well and when he's good. And I don't love his roster. I don't love it. I think defensively they're limited.
The Patriots took James Cook out of the game by just stuffing him at the line over and over. That really hurts the Bills. When James Cook doesn't get going, they're not the same team.
I think when you stop James Cook, you really have
and then
you got the Bills bottled up. If you have a really good defense.
This is a different Patriots team when you have Vrabel as the head coach. He just brings an element to their team they haven't had in a while.
Toughness.
And then Josh McDaniels calling the plays, which he's been doing in New England for a long time. And he's just a really good play caller.
They have tough running backs. Ramondre Stevenson reminds me of James White.
Yeah.
From the old Patriots.
He's strong.
He can run. He can receive.
Although he has
14
fumbled
yards rushing, but he had 2 touchdowns, and he had 2 for 13. But he makes the most of those. I know he fumbled and got in the doghouse in the beginning of the season, and I think that
he fumbled in this game too. And what was interesting was the coach didn't berate him. He brought him over. He encouraged him. He kind of slapped him on the butt. He's like, "Get going, man. We need you." And he ended up having a good game. So
yeah.
I think
it's not outstanding. It's doing a lot of the little things that guys like James White used to do, and statistically, they're not setting the world on fire, but they help win. And
what I noticed is happening to Stevenson is the same thing as happening to Derrick Henry. They're getting stood up at the line by a couple guys, and then you have a linebacker punch. Yeah. And they've got to figure this out because it's becoming too regular. When Stevenson's fumbling every week, something's got to happen. So
I'm not sure if he's fumbling every week. He definitely fumbled early, and then he got benched, and then I think he's been a little better, and he definitely made some impact plays. So I don't know. They're not losing faith in him. I think they're going to work with him on that fumbling.
I think so. I think you're right. This was an impressive win by the Patriots. It really was.
Yeah, I agree. On the road, division.
they imposed their will on defense on the
Yeah.
Bills offense and made them
Yeah.
kind of regular. So
Yeah.
the game tonight is Chiefs Jaguars. I think this will be a really good game. This is in Jacksonville. Patrick Mahomes has it rolling now. You have Etienne's having his best season ever, and
Mhm.
Trevor Lawrence has a lot to prove with a big contract now. And Jaguars sitting at 3-1. What do you think is
I
going to happen in
called
this
the
game?
Jaguars.
You did.
Remember when we said who's going to be a surprise team this year? I said they're not going to be, Super Bowl or anything, but they're going to be better. They're not going to be down at the bottom as a joke. And they still might have injury problems and then fall, but I feel like they've kind of finally arrived with talent.
Mm-hmm. So, what are your thoughts on this game? Who do you think is going to win? What do you think is the key to it?
I think the Chiefs have a slight advantage, but I like what the Jags have been doing. I like where they're going. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Young team.
They were talking about how we haven't really seen much of Travis Hunter yet. Do you think that he's going to flash one of these weeks? I mean, it just feels
Yeah, one
like
of these weeks he's gonna have some pretty big highlights.
he's still playing both sides of the ball. He
Yeah.
played. He's playing about 2/3 offense, 1/3 defense in terms of snaps.
Yeah.
He's made a couple catches, but hadn't really flashed yet. So I don't know if he's still learning the playbook or what it is.
Yeah, I think he's trying not to get hurt. He's trying to do all the things that he learned in camp and just trying to connect with his quarterback more than make huge plays.
I mean, he
Uh,
must be looking at Egbuka and the season he's having and thinking to himself, okay, what can I do to be more like that? You know what I mean? I don't know.
yeah. Yeah.
Looking at the fantasy football wrap up, Rico Dowdle is the top scorer this week. Pretty cool. And what was interesting is nobody had him in our league. Egbuka
That's funny.
was number 2 for Connor Bears. Dak Prescott, Kyron Williams, CJ Stroud, Sam Darnold, Jonathan Taylor, Justin Fields, and Baker Mayfield. So those are your top scorers this week.
Yep.
Any
Good stuff.
surprises?
Any surprises?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think just
Dowdle for sure.
Loudon was a huge surprise, and I think Justin Fields is also surprised that he'd have that good a game and they'd get blown out. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Looking
Justin
at,
Fields. I thought he looked lost, so I wouldn't have guessed he had those kind of stats.
he just had a big fourth quarter. That's basically what
Yeah,
it was.
that's true.
Wide receivers, Egbuka, number 1, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, Kendrick Bourne, Puka Nakua, Debo Samuel, Jalen Waddle, and Rashid Shaheed. So a lot of good receivers this year. And you can see these guys are scoring really, really high points. It's kind of fun to see what's happening in our league. And then on defense, New Orleans comes in first this week, which shocked me. This is a really bad team, but I guess they're playing the Giants and made a bunch of turnovers. Indianapolis, Washington, Houston, Detroit, Tennessee, Dallas, and San Francisco. So that's your top defenses. Any surprises there?
Washington being up there that good is what I was talking about. How I didn't feel like their defense was getting the credit, and Indy's D also. You got to tip your
Yeah.
hat to Indy's roster.
Well, they're good on both sides of the ball.
They are, and
They're really good.
New Orleans is so bad that their defense is fighting for its life every single game.
Yeah, and they were
Kind of
saying the only
surprising that
reason
they're able to do that.
most weeks they're getting like 3 or 4 points in fantasy, but this week they had 5 turnovers from the Giants. So
Yeah,
they
Giants
inflated
turned
their
it over a
numbers.
lot.
Yeah. Here's your power rankings. You got Detroit 1, so Robbie's vindicated. Kansas City 2, Green Bay 3, Philly and Buffalo. Both of them dropped because of their losses. And then you got Washington all the way up to 6 after their win against the Chargers. Rams, Colts, Broncos, and 49ers. So that's your top 10.
I think the Indy and Denver. Watch out,
Yeah, I think Indy should be a little higher. They're
maybe
really good.
they should be higher than the Rams.
I think so. And I think Tampa is way too low. I can't imagine why they're down at like 15. They're way too low. They're a top 10 team right now, I think. So
Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot of problems with this top 5. I think it's about right. Kansas City maybe a little bit high, but
KC's too high.
yeah, I
Green
think so.
Bay's a little too high. I think I'd move KC and Green Bay down about 3 spots each,
Yeah, I think so.
and then that's about right.
I don't think KC and Green Bay are better than Philly and Buffalo. I just don't. So, although we're going to find
No.
out next weekend when Buffalo plays KC, we're going to find out.
Yeah, it's
Looking
gonna
at
be a
the
good one.
playoffs, this is the second round. Brewers take game 1 against the Cubs 9-3. I just feel like, and we talked about this, I feel like the Brewers are kind of like a team of destiny
They
this year.
feel like a man. Yeah,
They're
they
just
feel like
so
men
good.
on a mission.
They do. They do. They had a lot of home runs, really good pitching in this game. Cubs, I think, have had a really nice year too, but Brewers have just had one of those special years. Blue Jays whoop up on the Yankees in game 1, 10-1. Nobody's been talking about the Blue Jays at all, and
Yeah, no.
they had a fantastic season and have a really good offense. So I don't know. Maybe we should start talking about them as a possible
Yeah,
contender.
they're under the radar for whatever reason.
Dodgers had a really tough game 1 with the Phillies
Mm.
and found a way to scratch out a win. What was pretty cool is Ohtani started this game as pitcher in game 1, which is really cool. He hadn't pitched a playoff game in his career yet. And he ends up winning the game. He's 1-0 now in pitching
That's cool.
in the playoffs. That was really cool to see.
Yeah.
They scratched out a win for 1-0 victory. And then the Tigers win very late in this game, 3-2 against the Mariners. Took a 1-0 lead there. In game 2, the Blue Jays come storming back with 15 hits and 13 runs to take game 2 and now put the Yankees into an 0-2 hole. So Yankees
they're in trouble.
they're right on the edge of elimination. The Mariners come back and win 3-2 in game 2. Now that series is tied 1-1. And then you have 2 other games happening tonight. You got the Dodgers Phillies game happening tonight, and then the Cubs and Brewers game 2 also happening tonight. So this is a segment, Robbie, we used to do in the old weekend update days. We haven't done it in almost a year. Our winners and losers of the week segments. I thought we'd bring it back just for fun this week. You tell me if you disagree with any of these. One of my winners was Florida with the big win over Texas.
Huge.
I got Florida as a huge winner. Miami with the big win over Florida State.
Yeah.
Big winner of the week. Virginia. Another win to go 5-1, and now in the
second overtime in a row.
Yeah. Tampa Bay. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're 4-1 and they just keep winning. Washington with a huge win on the road in Los Angeles against a playoff team.
Yeah, it was a big one.
Yep.
Good team win.
Blue Jays go up 2-0, so I gave them winner of the week. And then Milwaukee Brewers playing really, really well. So any problems with any of these? Anybody you'd add or subtract?
Oh, I would add UCLA.
UCLA, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
They might be number 1 winner of the week.
And some of the ones I didn't put on there because they're expected, like Ohio State, I put the ones on here that are not as expected.
Beating Penn State is not expected.
Yeah, exactly. So here's your losers of the week. You got Florida State losing 2 in a row now, and they've put themselves in a really tough spot in terms of the playoff. Texas, obvious.
Yeah,
I mean, the number 1 preseason team, and now they're not even in the top 25. Penn State, same thing. They're now unranked.
Huge. That was a disaster.
Yeah. So you got those 2 teams surprisingly bad this year. Baltimore, I don't know what to say about this team. This is a team that a lot of people picked to win the Super Bowl, and they're just really reeling right now.
Yeah, I mean, when you have your backup in there and your defense isn't playing well, you're in big trouble.
Right. Cardinals, who continue to find wild ways to lose games.
That was one of the craziest ways to lose a game I've ever seen in my entire life.
I know. No, really, if you look back at the games they played this year, they should be 4-1. They really should.
I saw a funny meme today that had that running back running, looked free and clear, was just about to go into the end zone. And it showed the score at the bottom where they were up by two scores, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in the fourth quarter, I believe.
Yeah.
And they
Right.
said somehow the Cardinals still lost this game.
It's just incredible. I know.
And yeah, and it was
Did you see
amazing.
how angry the coach was and how he got into the running back's
Yeah, no,
face?
he physically manhandled his running back.
He was
He
so
like
furious.
pushed him.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
he's so
the coach can't do what he did,
he
but
can't do that. He can't do it.
no,
He had to be separated from his player. So
I know. And he like jerked his arm like hard.
another loser of the week, Cubs. Everyone thought they had a real chance in the playoffs this year. They're looking like they're kind of whimpering out potentially. And then Yankees sitting in the 0-2 hole could potentially come back, but looking like they might get knocked out. So any other losers you'd add? I didn't want to put Dolphins here and hurt your feelings. So.
I'd put the Dolphins. It's so bad. They had that game won.
I know. Sorry, man. I was happy because I was there and I was watching my team win one of its few wins this year.
Pretty good group of losers right there.
Yeah. All right. So before we go to the mailbag, Robbie, how beautiful is this? 4 teams from the ACC in the top 25, and everyone had written off this conference. So, what is your thought? Just generally, take a minute and tell us what you think about how the ACC is playing this year.
I said it earlier this year that I thought the ACC was up just a little bit. And the reason I think that is because we have some competitive teams all up and down the lineup. We don't have, a horror show at the bottom, and we don't have like one good team. I think there's some nice solid teams at the top, and I think a lot of their schedules are conducive to winning. So I think it's up just a little bit from last year was kind of a disaster. So this is better.
You have a couple teams that are not on here that could be top 25. I think Duke is potentially a top 25 team.
I mean, I don't think you turn your back on Clemson. I think Duke could possibly be up there.
NC State.
NC State could definitely go on a winning streak. So there's teams that are still kind of hanging around right outside the top 25.
SMU could rip off 5 or 6 in a row.
SMU's been winning a lot, so they're not far away from going back up. So yeah, there's 4 or 5 other teams that easily could take the place of some of these, or add 1 or 2 more in one or the other.
I'm gonna hand it to you, man.
All right. Well, let's take a look at some of the comments from last week. We had, let's start off with FSU's Deuce Robinson is an absolute superstar. He's going to be a problem in the NFL at Gabriel Bennett.
100% agree. You know what? When I look at him and I look at some of the other guys we mentioned in the program tonight, some of the receivers, it makes me realize that there's going to be a lot of receiver talent coming into the NFL draft, and he's going to be a fantastic pro. He is literally unstoppable. And the other guy who was unstoppable Virginia played this week was with the Cardinals, and he was absolutely fantastic as well.
Yeah, they faced 2 good ones back to back. Unbelievable. All right, well, thanks for that one. Props to the UVA O-line. They totally dominated the trenches, especially being shorthanded. We talked about this earlier. At Adam Arthur Ortiz.
You know what, Adam? I agree. I could not believe my eyes, but we ran it down their throats. We blocked very well where we needed to. It kind of reminded me a little bit of the Panther strategy against the Dolphins, just running it. And it was really sweet to watch, the fact that we actually have a real O-line this year.
Yeah. All right, next one. This felt like 10 years of frustration being released. As you said, an unforgettable night for the Cavalier faithful. That was at Philip Joshua Watson. It totally felt like 10 years of frustration.
I would say maybe more, Philip.
Maybe more than 10 years. It was an irrational exuberance.
It was just crazy. And, it was so funny to watch everybody's reaction all around the country to the field storming. I think that's what they enjoyed the most, because it was
Yeah.
one of the greatest field storms of all time. It really was.
It was
And
fast.
all,
It was
all those
furious.
incredible photos of the guys when they're just storming onto the field, like
Yeah.
it was true exuberance. It was real joy. These are fans that have not had a lot to talk about or cheer about. So
Yeah. Great episode, guys. The instant reaction was exactly what I needed after the emotional roller coaster. At Anthony Jess Martin.
Anthony, thank you so much. Yeah, it was just what we needed to. I know Rob and I talk a lot about, we sometimes follow really bad football teams, but it's nice to actually have some things to cheer about and to be joyful about.
It's unusual when we're following a team that we're passionate about that also is winning. So
Yes, exactly.
when we're winning these exciting games, it's pretty cool.
If we can
We get
just
to
get
taste
the
it a little bit.
Panthers, we can just get the Panthers and the Dolphins to be winning teams, we'll be really, really good.
I guess we're asking for too much. And that's the mailbag, man.
There's a lot of good ones there this week. Thank you guys so much for all the great comments. We really love them.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to read through them and hear what your thoughts are out there. Adds a lot to what we're doing.
So just live update, the Chiefs are up 14-7 right now on the Jaguars. So definitely once we sign off, we'll go watch the end of the game. And any other big ones you're looking forward to this week? Virginia has an off week. Gets to heal up a little bit.
I don't know. I need to kind of regroup a little bit and kind of look at what I think are the good matchups. We're definitely getting into the part of the season where you, like I said, you're looking at the artwork closer up with your contacts in and starting to see what the picture is going to look like. But you're also seeing a few teams fall apart.
Well, the theme tonight was playoff separation. That's exactly what it's all about. We're starting to really see teams separate.
One thing I've noticed is overall, conventional wisdom's always wrong eventually. So when the SEC is just, oh, no one can beat the SEC. Well, now they can. And then no one can beat the Big Ten. They're the best ever. Well, they're beatable. And so I just like it. They're working on trying to get some of the parity there into college. And I think it's slowly starting to show up some. So I just generally like that. There's no question there's parity in the NFL. There's no question.
Why do you think Ohio State was the only team out of the top 5 that we got right? I mean, essentially the preseason poll was complete garbage. That's what it was. It was garbage.
Ohio State hasn't really played too many tough teams so far. I mean,
Yeah,
they've had one.
You think they're going to get knocked off by like an Indiana or Penn State?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's possible. It's unlikely that it's Penn State, but it could be Indiana. You take them lightly.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, do you really want to bet against them playing Michigan? I don't know. Michigan plays them hard, even when they're not as good a team.
Rob, if an NFL team had those 2 receivers, it would improve their NFL team. Tate and Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah.
Incredible. I mean, Tate is almost as good as Smith is.
I know.
He's fantastic.
I know.
So, no, I'm not betting against Ohio State, but I have to think they'll have a stinker one of these weeks.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think they're going to play flat sometime. And when they do, they might be right for the knocking off. We'll see.
That's it. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining tonight. Have a great football week and enjoy the baseball playoffs. We got hockey starting tomorrow night. That's going to be great. NBA starts in a week and a half, and you just can't get any better than this. We got the MLS playoffs coming up. My Charlotte FC team is number 4 in the East, so they're going to make the playoffs, which is great. And it's going to be a lot of fun. See what happens from here on out.
Yeah, it should be a lot of exciting sports to continue, and keep tuning in.
Guys, thank you for coming, and please like the video, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.
See you. Take care.